All right, guys, look at this photograph here. Look at this graphic on your screen. Jake Cronenworth last night, 36 points. Dude had his third home run his last 5 games. Scott there, little Bryson Scott Stott sandwich on your screen, $2,400. We call that affordable. And we call DraftKings contributor Garion, Thorne, and Steve Buchanan, our MLB panel this morning, here to cover the bases. Steve, the Angels last night all walking out to the plate with Nickelback songs. That didn't quite work out for him, did it?
No, and weird choice. But for a franchise that can't get anything together, I would expect such a rash decision to be made.
Was it 14 straight losses for him now, Garion? Can you imagine wasting Shohei Ohtani and also Mike Trout continuously?
Yeah, we don't have to imagine it. It's happened since 2014. This is the Angels. They have 5 of the best 25 players in baseball at some point, and then they basically ruined the career of Albert Pujols and not Nolan Arenado, but they've taken these guys who were great players. They go to Los Angeles and they just die. It's
Rendon.
Strange.
What'd you say, Steve?
Anthony Rendon. I think that's what he was trying to talk about. Yes.
Also, can I say Nickelback's not actually that bad?
I agree. Why? And now, Steve, I saw you making the face. Listen, are they like my first pick from the 90s or early 2000s rock bands there? No, but I do think they catch more crap than they actually deserve. Gary, you're absolutely right on this.
Thank you.
Steve, you don't.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'd rather listen to the Venga Boys or something.
All right, let's get to tonight. Let's cover the bases here. Let's get the top plays for tonight's slate. First base, Steven, who's your favorite pitcher in DFS tonight?
I'm thinking Garion's going to be on the same pitcher that I am, but this is just how it is. But I think Max Fried going against the Pirates is where you start all your lineups going tonight. This is one of the worst teams in the league against lefties. They strike out a ton against lefties. Coming into tonight, 24% K rate. That's the 7th highest in the league against lefties. 89 WRC+. That's one of the lowest in the league. And even though Max Fried his strikeout numbers haven't been as strong as we've seen in the past, and he's not striking out a batter of an inning, he's still pitching extremely well because he doesn't give up really any type of production. So even though those strikeouts haven't been as abundant as we've seen in the past, he makes up for it by not giving up any runs. It's kind of like a Sandy Alcantara, who we saw yesterday going against the Nationals, 9 shutout innings and had no decision in that game. Only struck out 6, but the fantasy points were there because he gave up absolutely nothing. He scattered 6 hits. That's kind of the pitcher that Max Fried has been for the Braves so far this season. Give me him against the Pirates, who just can't hit lefties at all at this rate.
I mean, Gary and Steve anticipated you guys kind of be on the same page here. Is that the case?
I mean, look, Fried's great. The Pirates have the highest strikeout rate in baseball across the last 2 weeks. Garrett Cole brings a level of strikeout upside that no other pitcher on this slate can match. But I'm going to go right back to that Red Sox-Angels game and just keep picking on the Angels. I mean, look, they were cursed by a Canadian last night in Chad Kroger. He couldn't save him. And I think Nick Pivetta is going to pick up right where Chad Kroger left off. Pivetta in his own right has been fantastic in his past 6 starts. He's got a 1.32 ERA in that span of time. He's holding opponents to a 2.12 WOBA in that span. His strikeout rate hovering around 24%. That is above average. But the Angels, I mean, if the Tigers and the Athletics didn't exist, they would be the worst offense in baseball in virtually every category in the last 2 weeks. And things aren't getting a lot better. I mean, they lost Taylor Ward earlier this week. Mike Trout is a huge question mark for this game. Sat out last night with that groin issue. If Trout's not in this lineup, it's bad. It's a terrible lineup without Mike Trout in the heart of it. So yeah, I'm just going to keep going back to the Angels and picking on them until it stops working.
All right, well, nice little segue here because now I'm going to ask you for your best hitter in DFS as we approach second base, Garion.
Yeah, this one I'm going to go with the Yankees because Dylan Bundy has been as terrible by himself as the entire Los Angeles Angels organization, which is funny because he used to pitch for the Angels. His last 6 starts, 8.44 ERA. He is giving up a 350, 392, 625 slash line to opposing hitters in that span of time. So I'm just going to take the best hitter in baseball, who's not priced as the highest hitter on this slate, and that's Aaron Judge. He's still $6K. Don't get me wrong, he's expensive. But considering he is 100th percentile expected WOBA and 100th percentile expected slugging, Aaron Judge should probably just be the most expensive player on every single slate he's on. He's not. He's going up against a terrible pitcher, so I will take Aaron Judge.
I mean, he is playing like the best player in the world right now, Steve.
No doubt, and that's fine. No issue with going with Judge, but I'm going with Matt Olson going up against JT Brubaker tonight. Matt Olson hasn't been hitting the home runs at the rate that I think all of us expected, but he's making up for it because he is a doubles machine so far this year. You look at the numbers that he's been putting up. I mentioned that the home runs aren't there, but you look at the doubles that he's put up. I mean, at this rate, 24 doubles on the season. That's one of the highest in the league. And now he's going up against a righty, and that's where he's been absolutely mashing this season. 378 WOBA, 236 isolated power. Now he's going up against JT Brubaker, who struggles against lefties. That's kind of the kryptonite for him. A 342 WOBA against them. 5.22 FIP and a 1.6 home run over 9 innings. So this would be a great spot for Olson to, maybe add to those home run numbers that we haven't seen so far this year. But getting the doubles has been something that he's been doing all season long. And against somebody who's giving up a ton of extra base hits in Brubaker, I think Matt Olson in the heart of this Braves lineup, which is absolutely on fire right now, by the way. They just put a ton of runs up against the Athletics yesterday. I think this is a great spot for Olson.
Yeah, leads the majors in doubles, and will be facing Brubaker for the first time in his career. Let's go third base. DFS value play, Steve.
Yeah, I think Andrew Benintendi's in a decent spot here at 3,500 going up against Jordan Lyles. We talk about how Brubaker struggles against lefties. Andrew Benintendi near the top of the Royals lineup is a good spot here tonight. He hasn't been absolutely crushing it when he's at the plate or anything like that, but averaging 7.7 DraftKings fantasy points against righties so far this season. Prime spot in that Royals lineup, and only 3,500. So I think that's a decent price point for somebody hitting as high as he does. He's got speed. He's got a decent amount of pop, and going up against Jordan Lyles, who feels like every time he's on the mound, he's putting like 6 guys on base per inning. Not giving up a ton of runs, but he's putting a lot of guys on base, and that's all we can ask for with someone like Benintendi. Just get on base, can swipe it back. He has that capability too as well. 3,500 just seems to be too low for somebody who earlier this season was like leading the major league in batting average. So you're getting quite the discount for someone who's cooled off a bit but can still produce at the plate.
Who do you like in value tonight for DFS, Garion?
I'm going to stick in that same game. It's kind of weird looking at a slate, and a lot of this is because of the size of the slate and because of the quality of the pitching in the other matchups. But this Orioles-Royals game actually has the highest total of any game on tonight's 5-gamer. It's odd because, the Royals in particular are not a blessed offensive team. But I'm going to go to the other side of this matchup with Ryan Mountcastle, who is just $3,100. We've talked a lot about guys who've been unlucky based on their expected statistics so far this season. We think Jesse Winker is probably the poster child for this. I think Ryan Mountcastle has a case to at least get on that same poster. He has a 399 expected WOBA in 2022. You would not think that looking at his surface statistics, which are fine, and they've definitely gotten better over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but he got off to a very rough start this season. But much like his rookie year, much like last season, a lot of that success has come against left-handed pitching. He has a 410 expected WOBA against southpaws. That is easily the highest mark on the Baltimore Orioles. And Chris Bubik, he basically had to go down to AAA to relearn how to pitch because he was that bad to start this season. He's got a 9.33 expected ERA. He's bad. And the Orioles aren't the best offensive team in the league, but they should be able to take advantage of Bubik.
All right, let's take the people home here. Favorite bet on the DK Sportsbook tonight, Steve. 5 games on the main slate.
I look at this Red Sox-Angels game. We have a team that's lost 14 in a row against a team that's won 7 in a row. And somehow the team that is on the losing streak is the team that's favored tonight. That's pretty remarkable. Look, are the Angels going to win a game again? Yes. Is it going to be tonight? I don't know. I'll pay the even money to find out, though, at plus 100 for the Red Sox here tonight. Ohtani has been great on the mound. Don't give me that. Pivetta has been phenomenal, too, as well. And like Gary mentioned earlier, if Trout is out of this lineup again, if you look at that lineup, holy hell, who are half of these people? I don't even know, right? It's hard to say that for somebody who works in the industry, and I can't even name 5 players in that Angels lineup last night. So with the way that Pivetta's been pitching, everything that's just been going wrong for the Angels. I feel like they're inventing new ways to lose every single night at this point. I haven't won a game since May 25th. It's getting absolutely out of hand. Is this the curse that's going to change it? And now they're going to win? Probably. But with that being said, I will absolutely pay the even money to get the Red Sox to win this game outright. as underdogs against a team that is just losing in every way possible. So give me the Red Sox at even money tonight.
Garion, what do you want on the DK Sportsbook?
I mean, I'll trail Steve on this one. I'll give another bet too, but like it's kind of crazy that like Luis Rengifo went on the paternity list yesterday, and that was like, wow, the Angels just lost their third best active hitter, and I don't even really know who Luis Rengifo is. So they are in dire times right now. And as good as Ohtani's been, his last 2 starts, they've come against really good competition in the Blue Jays and the Yankees, but he's given up 9 earned runs in his last 9 innings pitched. Hasn't quite looked like the guy he was back in April. So I have no idea why the Angels are favored in this game. I will also say I have no idea why the total in tonight's Athletics game is 9 runs. 9. I don't really have anything positive to say about Connor Pilkington or James Caprillion, but just give me the under to an Athletics game when the total is 9. They are dead last in every offensive category across the last 2 weeks. The Guardians are all right, but they also don't have any power. If you combine these 2 teams' home run output the last 2 weeks, they have 11. 23 other teams have more home runs by themselves than these 2 teams combined. I just don't know where all these runs are coming from. Maybe Cleveland pulls in Atlanta and scores 13 all by themselves, but that's about the only scenario I see because Oakland's not scoring more than like 2 runs tonight.